Skye Squad, we are back in the building. We back in the building, y'all. We back in the building. Who we got up in here? Y'all got it. And listen, y'all know when we come on the live, I want to know where you're watching from. And I know we just got off the live from Real Housewives of Atlanta, but some of y'all might have came back and some of y'all might have just dropped in. So I want to know where you guys are watching from. Okay, and who we got up in the house. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you come on in the room, announce where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying? So we got DC, we got VA up in the place, South Carolina, Texas up in the thing, Tampa, Shreveport, Louisiana, Connecticut in the building, Chi-Town, France, Baton Rouge, Oklahoma, okay, Jackson, Mississippi, home of Bell Collective, California, Indianapolis, Detroit up in the spot. Okay. ATL in the building. Georgia. I see y'all. Wisconsin up in here. San Diego, Canada, England, Dallas. Uh-oh. All right. I see y'all. Thank you so much for joining in. Listen, we got to discuss Married to Medicine. Okay. Married to Medicine was last night, and it got lit. The episodes were very similar to me last night. I mean, there was a lot of, family time in the episode, and we'll discuss some of that. Some of what we're going to be discussing, particularly the headline, is going to be coming from Watch What Happens Live, because your girl Toya Bush Harris was on Watch What Happens Live last night, and she was joined by Drew Sidora. And let me know in the chatterization if you guys happen to see that episode last night. If not, it is available online, I think, on the Hulu. If you got Hulu Live, you can go back and watch it. It's available now. If you can get BravoTV.com, you can go in there and watch it. But, Andy had to ask that good Toya Bush Harris what she thought of what Quad had to say about her house. Okay, now if you watch the episode that Dr. Heavenly showed Quad that good live that Toya had done, where she was talking about Quad and Heavenly being down to the apartment. You know what I'm saying? Down to Quad's apartment. Now, she was shading the apartment and the living arrangements. Now, so when Quad gave it to her on the show, she was returning serve, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? She was giving shade for shade. And she told us all that Toya had allegedly had to beg, borrow, and steal for that house. Okay. Now, those are Quad's words, not mine. Okay. Quad's words, not mine. And, she alleges that Toya had to take out $100,000 personal loan on top of the home loan in order to get the pool installed inside the home. Okay. Inside the home. Now, yes. You know how to go there, not the funky Dineva apartment, child. Yes. Oh, yes. So here's the thing. So Toya responds, okay, when Andy asks about that shade being thrown on the show, Toya responds by saying, well, I've never been accused of being a liar or a thief. Quad has never owned a home. Okay. And Quad has also been accused of being a liar and a thief. And I said to myself, well, what was she accused of stealing? Lord have mercy. Whew. I was like, oh, no. I mean, she goes in and she basically kind of feels like she says on Watch What Happens Live that Dr. Heavenly and Quad were just waiting for the opportunity to go in on her. And they've been coming after her since the beginning of the franchise. Now, I got to beg to differ just a little bit. While I do think that they probably would have shaded her, I mean, they were shading each other in the scene, or at least Quad was shading Dr. Heavenly. That seems to be the nature of their, oh, yes. Somebody sent me an email about that. Shout out to Dr. Heavenly. We appreciate the love and support. That was really nice to hear. That made my morning. It really did, because I love me some Dr. Heavenly. But we'll go in on it when we got to. But I think it just goes to show, we can talk about these people in these situations, but we can also show them love at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that she showed me some. So there's that on that. But I do feel like the ladies would have shaded Toya at the mere mention of her, but I don't feel like Quad would have gone off the way that she did, okay, had she not seen Toya going off on her on that live with Cecil and Dr. Simone. So I kind of feel like, again, Quad was just returning the serve, taking it back to a tennis lesson, because that is what we're going to be discussing in this coming episode, because Anila does go with that good Toya Bush Harris to a tennis lesson, and we learned that she is up to no good, while that good Toya is tennising from 2 to 3 hours, 5 days a week. Okay. We're going to talk about that more too when we get to it. Okay. Now, this is going to be definitely a Toya heavy talk. Okay. Just to let y'all know, I don't know whether you like Toya or you don't, but she was definitely taking center stage in this episode and with regards to the news. Okay. Now, we know she's going to get into it with Dr. Contessa. We're going to talk about that in just a moment as well. But before we dive into that, since we've already talked about the headlines, I want to know what you guys would rate this episode. Give it to me. Lay it on me. Y'all know we do this episode. When we rate the episode, we talk about it being on a scale of 1 through 10. Okay. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you guys going to rate this particular episode of Married to Medicine? Now, this is the 3rd episode of the new season. Now, give it to me. Lay it on me thick right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, what you guys giving it? I see some 8, 9. I see an 8, 9, and a 6 already. At 8 for me. 7.5. You know, for me, myself personally, I'm going to give this episode an 8. Now, I would, and again, I almost felt like it deserved a 7.5 because, you know, the early part of the episode was a little, a little dry for me. It was a little dry for me. And, you know, I don't know if it was because we were just being sort of introduced to Anila's the broader range of her family in this episode. But I just felt like the episode was lacking something, and I don't really know what it was. Yeah, LaShonda says it started off slow. I feel you. So let's go ahead and get down to the thing, okay? So now we get this montage of the doctors all up at the 4 a.m. hour. And we really get a taste of what it's like to be a doctor who is working on the front lines during this panorama. And I wrote down in my notes that this is a reminder that this is probably one of the most relevant shows on Bravo TV, because not only did we get this montage of, you know, the doctors up at 4 a.m. and the challenges that they face as doctors, you know, kind of working in these interesting capacities, being up close and personal with the patients, and also having to go home and then take that back home to their families and being a little nervous about it, and maybe a lot nervous and scared about it. And I think to anyone who is maybe working in the medical field, or who is married to or dating or partnered with someone who works in the medical field, you have a better understanding of what that is actually like and how stressful it can actually be. Trust me, I get it. And I also wrote that this is such a relevant show because right after that scene, we get a scene with Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Heavenly flew Miracle in and brought her into her dental office because Miracle was on the front lines protesting for the Black Lives Matter movement. And she was filming a police officer who was taking, I guess, a man. And so I guess at some point in time, you know, Miracle was punched in the face. Now, we all saw this happen on the news. I know a lot of us saw it because it was all over the blogs and stuff like that. So to see Dr. Heavenly fly this, you know, fly her in, I just felt like it was such a touching moment, and I'm so glad that they showed it. And the other thing is, I'm so glad that this show does not shy away from showing the work that the doctors are doing in their own practices. I think it's so important that the network is highlighting, you know, Dr. Heavenly's practice, Dr. Contessa opening up her new practice, Dr. Simone's practice, Dr. Jackie's practice. I really like that we're seeing the work, and it also brings exposure to the doctors' brands and the medical community that they're building in Atlanta. I think that is phenomenal, and I'm super excited that Bravo is doing that. So we get Toya taking Anila on a tennis lesson, okay? Now, Toya says she plays 5 days a week, about 2 to 3 hours a day. Now, in my mind, I was thinking to myself, when I later saw her homeschooling the children, okay? And she was talking about how stressful her day was, which I believe is very stressful to homeschool a child. I can't even imagine what that's like. I can't imagine. But I guess I was kind of wondering, I was like, well, girl, where are you finding the time to do the tennis 2-3 hours out the day? Maybe that's why you're so stressed. Okay. Maybe, I mean, and I guess maybe, listen, the tennis could be her safe place. You know what I'm saying? That could be her time, her me time, which we all deserve. But I was just thinking to myself, oh, how you do all that? Let me tell you something. I ain't homeschooling no kids, okay? And maybe I need some time management, expertise, okay? But even when I'm at the gym and I'm at the gym maybe an hour and a half, okay? Sometimes 2 hours, depending on how much I'm, running up on that good treadmill, because your boy try to be staying in shape. But I be thinking to myself, some days I feel extra guilty that I was there for so long, because I'm like, I could have gotten so much else done had I not been in the gym. And then I have to remember, you got to do this for your own health. So it was just interesting to me. I was just trying to figure out how that fit into that dynamic of her being so stressed and then with the kids. But hey, listen, who am I to judge on that? Who am I to judge, right? All right. So Dr. Jackie goes to visit Dr. Contessa's new office. Okay. The new office building has a shower. Now we learned that Dr. Contessa and Dr. Scott are going to be using this building and this office to practice integrated and addiction medicine. Okay. Jackie tells her, okay, the mistakes that she made in opening her own practice. And we learned that Dr. Contessa is still not over Scott not supporting her decision to go up to school up in another state and be away from the family. I think Dr. Contessa, I like me some Dr. Contessa. But I feel like you might want to let that go. The only reason I say that is because now you're out of school, okay? And you done made it through. So to a certain degree, in order for the business of family to run effectively, because marriage is also a business, okay? For those of you who, it's a relationship, but it's also a business. Sometimes you got to do what's best for the business. And you got to just say, you know what, I'm going to let it go. Now, she would have probably gotten to the point of letting it go faster had she and Dr. Scott continued to go on to the therapy. But I recognize a lot of myself in Dr. Contessa, because I sense that Dr. Contessa is a high-performing personality type. And I feel that about myself as well. So I'll be trying to do 100 million things. For instance, today, I don't even feel well right now. But guess what I'm doing? I'm still up on this live, and you would never know, okay? You only know because I'm telling you. But I don't feel good. But yet here I am, determined to do what I say I'm going to do, right? So, I feel like Dr. Contessa, a lot of times, a lot of us can relate to this. We get so busy doing the things that we're doing and trying to be this high-performing person that we don't take the time to assess what's going on in our lives. And therapy would definitely help her get to a better place, especially because she is still harboring these feelings of resentment against Dr. Scott for not being as supportive as she would prefer for her decision to leave the family and then go and finish her degree in another state. Okay. So for me, I feel like they both have some work to do in order to sustain this space. And Dr. Contessa is saying that she just don't have the time. But Dr. Jackie is telling her, listen, girl, you better make the time, because Dr. Jackie you don't want to end up like me and in the situation that she ended up in with her husband, although it was her husband's decision to cheat, okay? It wasn't Dr. Jackie's fault. But Dr. Jackie also had to realize that she also needed to make some changes in herself as well, and in her personal work and life balance. And I think that's important for everybody to understand. Now, there's that. I think that Dr. Jackie gives her some really good advice. And I think that Dr. Contessa, who doesn't want to hear anything negative, would do well to hear what Dr. Jackie has to say, because Dr. Jackie is a cautionary tale, especially given that she knows all the mistakes that she made in starting her first practice. So I thought that this scene was great. We get Anila and her family. We learned that her entire family is there, and the husband is annoyed, and he would rather go back to the office than deal with the chaos that is in his home now that the family is there. Okay, and I think a lot of people can probably relate to that. If you ever have had a large family, or you got a lot of in-laws, and everybody's coming over at the house, I'm sure after working all day in the hospital, it's probably a little bit, he probably want a little quiet time. You know what I'm saying? This is the scene right here that we get Toya stressed with homeschooling. Okay. And again, props to any parent out there who has been homeschooling their kids. Okay. Because I don't know how y'all do it. So I give her props for that. I was just wondering where she found the time to do tennis for 2-3 hours out of a day. Because when they gave that list of her hourly breakdown, it wasn't no tennis on there. That's all I was saying. Queen A says, I don't feel well either. Hope you feel better, love. Drink a BioLite to help a lot. Sold at Publix or Kroger. Amen to that. Thank you, boo. We get that Anila is going to be celebrating, I guess is Rahki, which is, tradition, and her family, she's celebrating that with her family. She tells Toya that she's inviting Dr. Contessa, and Toya is like, you don't even know her like that. Okay. So in this moment, I started to wonder, is Toya going to turn into the possessive friend? Okay. Comment in the chatterization. Is Toya about to turn into the possessive friend? Or is Anila gonna be all over the place like LaToya on Real Housewives of Atlanta? Just comment in the chatterization. I just want to know your initial thoughts. Let me know, because I'm watching. I got my eye on you, Anila. I'm just trying to figure out what you about to do. Okay. So we have that. Now, we also learned that Toya has an issue with Dr. Contessa because she had invited Dr. Contessa to her Christmas party or to some event at her house, and Dr. Contessa had to take off her shoes, okay? And Toya felt like Contessa was being rude because she didn't want to take off her shoes in her house. Now, when she got on Watch What Happens Live, she explained it in further detail. Toya says that Dr. Contessa was allegedly caught on tape by a family member talking about how she didn't want to take her shoes off. I think she said she was caught on tape. Now I was like, now what is the caught on tape for? Why was she on the tape? Was it some type of security footage in the home or something like that? Or was the person recording her when she was talking without her knowledge? Because you know that Georgia is a one-party consent state when it comes to recorded conversations, which means that one party can record another party and the other party doesn't even have to know about it, and it is legal to do so. So I wonder what that was about. But what I do say is this. I have been invited to people's homes where I've been told to take off my shoes, and I understand it because there is the panorama that's happening right now. But I've also been invited to people's houses where I've been asked to take off my shoes, but I've also been asked to dress up. Now, let me explain something to you guys, for those of you guys who have this rule in your home. Don't invite me to your house and tell me to come dressed up if I'm only going to take off my shoes when I get there. So here I am, okay, dressed up in my dress shirt, okay, and my dress pants, my dress slacks, and my dress socks, and then in my dress shoes, and now I have to take off my dress shoes and walk across your floor in just my dress socks. That doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I don't know if it was that type of party or not. I'm just telling you reasons why I might be annoyed for having to take off my shoes at somebody's house, okay? That's it. And I understand the idea of tracking outside germs into the home. I do. Just don't ask me to dress up when I come if I got to take off my shoes. Okay. So that's that on that. Because you just ruined my whole, what? Now I done ruined the outfit. Now you got me up in here looking like a clown because I'm dressed up in my socks. But I digress. Moving along. We get the scene with Quad and Heavenly. Okay. Quad is reintroduced back into the girls group. Okay. And Quad immediately begins to start shading Heavenly about her 3-story closet because she is saying that she don't understand why Dr. Heavenly got a 3-story closet and she don't have the level of fashions that Quad feel like she should have. Now, my only statement about that is this. If I could have a 3-story closet myself, I definitely would, and I would find some stuff to put up in there, okay? Because they make them when you got the coin, okay? So if you got the coin, you could do what you want. Fashions or no. My fashions could be all bad, okay? But if I got a 3-story closet, you don't. How about that, okay? So but it was lightweight shade, and I expected it from Quad. And honestly, it's the type of light shade that I enjoy. And I feel like it's the energy and the effervescence that Quad provides, this lighthearted, joyous, hi, I'm here, I've arrived type of energy. I love it. I love it. Okay. I love it. Anyway, so immediately, okay, we learned that Quad has apparently been dating, but no hanky panky, allegedly. And so, when asked about Toya, Dr. Heavenly says she's been real mean. And for much of the season, i.e. the first 2 episodes, and even this episode, Toya has come across as a little mean, right? I feel like she's been a little mean to the girls. I don't know. I feel like she's been doing the most. But Dr. Heavenly immediately launches into, well, how you and Toya doing? Because let me show you this, okay? And she just pulls out that phone and right to the clip she goes. And we see Toya talking about Quad being down to the apartment, talking about her, and that's what she's saying in the live. Now, I remember this live, okay, because I heard it all, and she went in, and I felt like she was tipsy, okay? I did feel like she was tipsy on the live with Cecil and Dr. Simone, who we barely saw a lot of this episode either, okay? So Quad at that point, goes in. She talks about how, the loan for Toya's, the alleged loan for Toya's pool, and how they, she is just trying to basically keep up with the Joneses and whatnot. And, again, I feel like Quad was just returning the shade at that point. So we had that. But she basically says that Toya barely got that house. But at the end of the day, she did get it. So then we get to Anila's event. All the invited ladies arrived. And by invited ladies, I mean that Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie were not invited. Okay. Contessa arrives and Toya already begins to go in with the shade. Toya is complaining about the shoot incident, but Simone thinks that Toya just feels like Dr. Contessa really does not respect her. I think that this is probably more or less the issue in this situation versus a shoot incident at Toya's house. I feel like this is a respect situation, and I think Dr. Simone hit the nail on the head. Okay, she hit the nail on the head. Anyway, so Anila pulls Contessa to the side, and she's trying to broker a peace treaty between Contessa and Toya. And Contessa is really only here to get to know Anila. She's not trying to fool with Toya, okay? So we get a great introduction to Anila's family, her culture. I thought this was a great way to really introduce her and help us understand some of the family traditions and whatnot. I thought it was amazing. I love this. I love this whole scene right here. Then they send the kids away and they start ordering the lychee martinis. Now, let me tell you something. A lychee martini is my favorite drink, but I can only have 2, okay? More than 2, and it's a bad night. Anyway, so Toya is now confused, and she don't have a problem stating it, why Contessa is even there, okay? Anila is back to saying that she wants to, broker peace between the two, and that Toya is a great person. And Dr. Contessa is like, girl, I didn't ask you for all that. I just came over here to eat, okay? I just came to eat, and that's it. And so then, okay, Contessa, again, she seems very uninterested. So then Toya begins to go in, okay, on Contessa and about how rude she was with the shoes. And so Dr. Contessa is like, in the world of the panorama, I'm just not And then Toya is like, oh, everybody want to bring up the panorama when it's time to get down and throw down. I'm married to a doctor. I know all about the panorama. But girl, you are not a doctor, okay? And this is no disrespect to you, but I just feel like being married to the doctor and being the doctor who is on the front line, a nurse, a practitioner, or a dentist, or somebody who is out there. Heck, even someone who is working at the grocery store, who is bagging up your groceries. These are the people who are interfacing with other people on a day-to-day basis who really is way more stress than you, who, I get it. It's by God's grace, you're able to sit home and enjoy your life in a slightly different way. We all had to go through this, but I just feel like what she's saying to Contessa is a little bit disrespectful in the sense that Contessa seems like she is actually, working on the front lines, and Toya is not, even though she is married to someone who is working on the front lines. I just kind of felt like, ooh, I didn't really like that statement. Okay. But it is what I sometimes think that Toya love her, but I feel like she lives in a little bit of a different sort of privileged world. And again, that's her blessing. But I feel like because of that, some of the things that she's upset about, they really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that nobody really checked her on that was bothersome to me, because somebody should have checked her. So then Contessa turns her anger to Anila, and rightfully so, because she's like, listen, I'm here to get to know you. If you want to get to know me, I'm here for it. But then she's like, but until then, and I was like, did you just throw the napkin at Anila's face? I didn't understand why she did that. I did not understand why she did that. I mean, she literally, I'm going to do it again. She literally had them picked up the thing and tossed it at her. I was like, anyway, Anila, I guess you will learn your lesson about trying to broker peace between two people who are at war. Okay. So then here's where it gets crazy. Okay. Because Dr. Contessa is trying to leave, and Scott gets up and he's like, ooh, my wife about to go. It's about to be a thing right now. I better leave too. And Anila's mom comes over and starts yanking on Dr. Contessa's arm. And Dr. Contessa's like, I'm a strong woman. You might not want to do that. You might want to back up. You might want to back all the way up. And Anila's grabbing her arm, the mama grabbing her arm. I was like, oh, this is a little too much. This is a little too much. They are a little too interested and invested in keeping this woman in this space where it's obviously a little too volatile. So if she wants to leave, you need to let her leave. Don't put your hands on people, when they are trying to get out of a situation that is triggering for them. And again, and I wrote this in my notes, I said her mom was dead wrong for that. But this is going to be used against Dr. Contessa later. And it is, because we saw it in the preview, okay? Hold on. Did you guys see that Mariah Huck named as executive producer? I didn't see that. Has she always been listed as that on there? I mean, hasn't she always been listed on there as that? I'm not sure. I got to go back and watch that. I just felt like the mom was doing a little too much, okay? The mom was doing a little bit too much. And I felt like it wasn't even the mom's place to try to keep her there. If she had wanted to go and talk to her, a better way to handle that would have been to have tried to talk to her on the way out the door, but not try to keep her physically there by holding on to her when she's already very upset and clearly not here for the shenanigans. Okay. So I felt like that was out of order. And this wasn't, and I wrote, this wasn't the day to have that conversation because it was Anila's event and she had her family there. You know what I'm saying? So why would you make this? I mean, and I get it. In the real world, the way to make sure that your event is actually featured on the show is to have some type of altercation happen at the event. That's it. That's how you ensure that your event makes it into the actual finished show, because there's tons of events that are happening during filming, but not all of them are actually shown on the show. So what better way to do that than to, oh, listen, if we keep Contessa here, oh, this is going to be juicy. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like it was a little bit of that. And so Contessa did feel bamboozled. And I thought I saw somebody write it in the comments. So she felt bamboozled and set up by Anila. And Toya's like, why would she do that? But I feel like Toya also knows what's up with that whole type of situation as well. Eugene has to try to coach Anila that everybody is not going to like each other. Okay. And there's a time and place for trying to set up some type of resolve. And a better way to set that up would have been a one-on-one conversation after she has gotten to know Dr. Contessa for herself. But my spidey sense tells me that Toya is not going to appreciate the fact that Anila is trying to get close to Dr. Contessa because she's currently beefing with her. And I feel like the person keeping that beef alive is Toya. Bottom line. You know? So I just think that, again, Anila, wrong time to try to convince them to have a Ponderosa right there in a group setting, especially because this is an event to celebrate her culture and her family, you know, and they got now, you know, Toya and Dr. Contessa are calling each other bees and all kinds of other, you know, unsavory curse words in front of your mama. Okay. And now your mama then got up and then yanked on Contessa's arm. Okay. And that's just not the way to go. Kim, thank you for the super chat, who says it would have been interesting to see how Mariah and Anila's families would have meshed, being that they're both in the Indian community. Yes, this would have been a really, really great way to get to see just the merging of cultural activity. You know what I'm saying? It would have been interesting. So I don't know, man. We got a mess of a season on our hands. Toya is a hot mess. I love it, though. I absolutely love it. You know, we need somebody to be the hot mess to really get the party started. And it don't seem malicious. You know what? I like that about it. I like it when the hot mess don't seem malicious, like they're not trying to get too low down and dirty. And so, but we'll see how that turns out, because in next week's episode, we got Dr. Heavenly and Toya going at it in the bushes. Okay. Well, they're not in the bushes. Look like they at the basketball event, which just so happens to be lined with trees. Okay. So that's why I say in the bushes. So anyway, y'all, that's Married to Medicine, latest season, episode 3. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. It's giving me what I need. The drama ain't too, it ain't too deep. It ain't too, you know, dismal that makes me feel like I got to go take a shower after I done washed it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure it's gonna get turned up in the next couple of episodes as well, because y'all know how they do, and they're gonna get it started. Okay. So with that being said, listen, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode today. It has been a day for all of us. We have been rocking and rolling, and we're going to do All About the Tea live at 3 p.m. So I'm about to go take me another little break, y'all, to get my voice together, because I done, got turned up on this. So I want to thank you guys for rocking with me and for commenting along. I appreciate you guys. I see the comments. I just, whew. Listen, I love these shows, and I love that y'all love them too. So with that out the way, I will catch you guys. Hopefully you'll hop over to All About the Tea at 3 p.m. and I will see you later.